People think of the Excelsior Geyser at Yellowstone National Park. They often picture the iconic photo, which was taken by Frank J. Haynes in 1888. Imagine coming upon a flow of water that pumps out 4,000 to 4,500 gallons of water per minute. That water is 199 degrees Fahrenheit. This flow comes from a 300-foot by 200-foot resting geyser with an unpredictability of possible future eruptions. It sits dormant right now. It's the Excelsior Geyser located in the Yellowstone National Park in Wyoming, and it's part of the Midway Basin, which is covered in a previous video. Go back and watch, it's amazing. We're going to look at the Excelsior Geyser itself with its unique history, because in 1839, trappers from the American Fur Trader Company were making their way through the area when they noted a 50-foot geyser. They were talking about the prismatic spring. It's described as a boiling lake back then. Now, they believe the Excelsior erupted in the mid-1800s. By 1871, it was witnessed, and it was called the Cauldron. In 1878, the eruption was documented very well and witnessed. So in 1881 and 1882, it consistently was well observed when the eruptions of the Excelsior started occurring, and it was large ejections of stone and rock and dirt. The original eruption was probably observed only by nature back in the mid-1800s. Eruptions result from water pressure, which is under the surface, and it flashes to steam. It creates this eruption of that water to push through the surface. It throws the rock and dirt. So it's basically clearing out those underground waterways that are clogged. The observed and documented geyser eruptions were occurring at irregular intervals, sometimes less than an hour. These eruptions were throwing debris as high as 360 foot in the air. These outbursts would last several minutes at a time. At the close of each of these eruptions, it was followed by what witnesses described as earthquakes in the area, and the surrounding walls to that geyser would give away a little more each time, creating a wider geyser surface or pool. In 1882, it went quiet. No eruptions. Between 1883 and 1887, maybe 2 eruptions. 1888, hell breaks loose again and violent eruptions occur. This is the one with the photograph by Frank J. Haynes. The rocks were measuring over a foot, and they were shot over 500 foot away. The walls continued to erode during these times, and then in 1890, silent again. 1985, 95 years later, on a September day, it started again, and for 48 hours, these small eruptions occurred over and over again. Some were just minutes apart, others were close to an hour. But this new activity just helped pronounce the risks of these geysers, the unpredictability of these eruptions. Since then, it's been quiet. In the early years of 2000, the water heated to boiling, and although it's just 12 degrees higher than usual, to see that boiling would have been a sight, because it did cause little 5 to 10 foot eruptions. Excelsior has a history of these eruptions, and it eventually left this 200 by 300 foot crater. Water in that pool has silica, calcium, sodium, bicarbonate. It gives off hydrogen sulfate and carbon dioxide. These various minerals can flow into the Firehole River directly beside these pools, and unlike other springs, you don't want to drink from these rivers throughout the park. The water in the pool has silica, calcium, sodium, bicarbonate. It gives off hydrogen sulfate and carbon dioxide. These various minerals can flow into the Firehole River directly beside these pools. And unlike other springs, you don't want to drink from the rivers throughout the park. They can have mercury, arsenic, fluoride, phosphorus, lead. Some of these occur from industrial dumping way upstream, and other ones from the chemical reactions that take place from the water of the springs flowing into these rivers. The pH is neutral. It's about 7.2 to 7.8, a factor when mixed with heat and some of the various minerals and the lack of some nutrients which feed typical algae or bacterial growth keeps it clear. Now please note, there are some bacteria that can tolerate these high temps as well. Let's do a rundown of the events of the Excelsior Geyser. First of all, Timber Adventures thanks you for watching, and please like and subscribe. So in 1839, the area was spotted by the first white. In the mid-1800s, an unobserved eruptions took place. 1871, witnessed on a survey and given the name the Cauldron. In 1887, it was witnessed again. In 1881 and 1882, consistent violent eruptions were witnessed and documented extensively. At the close of 1882, silence. Maybe a couple small eruptions between 1883 and 1887 until 1888, violent eruption again with the first photographic of the eruption. In 1890, a silent again. And almost 100 years later, in September of 1985, boom, another series that lasted about 48 hours and then silent once again. There's a few heat increases in 2004 and 2006, and they did consider them small eruptions. Brings us to today, and we're just waiting. Thanks for watching.